good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Beth Jones. They say they are protesting management's refusal to address their concerns about emergency department staffing and the impact on patient care. The nurses have been negotiating a contract for over a year and a half. Holton Regional Hospital has also released a statement with management saying, quote, "We are extremely disappointed with this action by the nurses and their union. This decision comes after mutual agreement to utilize mediation to support contract resolution. A mediator has been assigned, and the initial discussions with representatives of both HRH and the union began last week," end quote. The statement says the nurses were offered a 21% pay increase over the duration of the 3-year contract, as well as benefit enhancements. It says the hospital will remain open and provide care for patients during the 4-day strike. Meanwhile, Northern Light Health is expanding its cancer care capabilities thanks to a major donation from a Brewer resident. Our Alex Schley tells us how officials say the donation will help expand care and bring advanced treatment options closer to home.
Wednesday, Northern Light Health announced a major donation that will establish a brand new center dedicated to cancer care. Brewer resident Jim Giro has donated $10 million to establish the Jim and Kathy Giro Center for Genomic and Advanced Therapies for Northern Light Cancer Care at the Lafayette Family Center Institute in Brewer.
Building on the genomic research led by Dr. Sarah Sinclair, the Medical Director of Research and Medical Oncology for Northern Light Cancer Care at Eastern Maine Medical Center, the establishment of this center represents a transformational leap forward in access to clinical trials and advanced cancer treatments for Mainers.
The donation honors Jim Giro's late wife, Kathy, who passed away from cancer in 2022 after receiving treatment at the facility in Brewer.
His wife, Kathy, was treated for cancer historically, and he's establishing the Jim and Kathy Center for Genomics and Advanced Therapy in honor of, in memory of his wife.
Doctors say cancer care is rarely one size fits all, and that genomic medicine allows clinicians to better target treatments based on the unique biology of each patient.
And when we talk about genomic medicine, what it means is that we are studying the biology of the tumor, looking at specific mutations within the tumor so that we can learn more about the tumor and what targeted therapies may be most appropriate and most effective for the patient.
Officials say they expect the center will be up and running by the end of the year, expanding access to advanced care and keeping more patients closer to home for treatment. In Brewer, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
In other news tonight, a judge denied a post-conviction review for a man convicted of manslaughter in the death of his infant son back in 2023. Reginald Melvin of Milo pleaded guilty to domestic violence manslaughter for the death of his 1-month-old son, Silas Melvin, in August of 2023. At the time of the incident in August of 2021, doctors advised police that when Silas arrived at the hospital, the child was severely injured with injuries to his skull, ribs, as well as facial trauma. Reginald Melvin was sentenced to 30 years with all but 25 suspended and conditional probation for 6 years. The judge denied a motion for post-conviction review today in a hearing in Piscataquis County. Well, the Penobscot County Grand Jury has indicted a man on attempted murder charges. Bangor police arrested 35-year-old Jeremy Trudeau at a building on Summer Street in March after multiple people reported a man was inside with a knife threatening to kill people. One person told police she had a protection order against Trudeau and she found him waiting for her outside. Multiple witnesses said they saw Trudeau chase the woman into the building while she was screaming for help. Witnesses also reported they saw Trudeau cause damage to the door after the woman barricaded herself inside. In addition to the attempted murder charge, the grand jury also indicted Trudeau on other charges, including domestic violence, criminal threatening with a dangerous weapon, and terrorizing with a dangerous weapon. Well, a fire along a road in Newburgh this afternoon is prompting officials to remind folks to use caution when disposing of lithium batteries. Just after 12 o'clock, a trash truck driver says he noticed smoke coming from the back of the truck. The driver then dumped the load along Murray Road, a move fire officials say likely prevented a much more serious situation. However, once the trash was exposed to oxygen, crews said the fire quickly grew. Firefighters from Newburgh, Carmel, and Etna responded to the scene, officials saying a lithium battery is likely the cause.
Uncommon, not really, especially when you get into things in modern homes, especially like lithium-ion batteries. All it takes, even a fully discharged battery like that, is not fully discharged. There could be some stuff left in there, and all it takes is something crushing that. It can create its own heat, its own oxygen, and it can create its own fire. 1,500 degrees like that.
Well, fire officials say they were able to quickly get things under control. An excavator was later brought in to help sift through all of that material. Well, the Brewer American Legion is working to identify the graves of veterans and is asking the community for help. Our Callie Warren has the story.
We just want to make sure that we get these graves marked, so that way at a glance we know where they are so that we can give them the proper honor that they deserve.
The flags that mark some gravestones at Brewer's Oak Hill Cemetery represent a veteran who has passed. But the Brewer American Legion is looking to do a little bit more for the estimated 250 veterans that have been laid to rest here in this cemetery.
When people come to visit, they know where that veteran's buried.
Many of these gravestones are worn and faded, some nearly unreadable. To honor veteran lives and thank them for their service, these burial sites will soon be more clearly marked.
They are the men and women, because of their sacrifice, whether it's all the way back to the Revolutionary War to the current campaign that we're in now. They sacrificed their time and some of them their lives so we could be free, and so it is a huge honor.
Freeman says it's about much more than decoration. The aim of the project is to identify locals who served and help families,
So they can get to their loved one and pay them the respect they deserve.
The Legion needs to raise a total of $7,500 for those 250 markers, which are produced by a local vendor. They're asking for community support to get them to that goal. For donation information, visit this story on our website.
We just want people to do what they're able to do, whether it's $5 or $500.
In Brewer, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
More than $5 million in grants is being awarded to towns and cities in Maine, and the money will be used for community projects to help improve resilience in the face of severe winter storms and reduce costs to taxpayers through energy efficiency upgrades. The grants are through the state's Community Resilience Partnership Program created back in 2021. Grantees in this round include the city of Calais, which is getting $75,000 to upgrade sidewalk fixtures that last longer and use less energy. The Holton Band of Maliseet Indians is getting almost $75,000 to replace oil furnaces with more energy efficient and less polluting heat pumps. And Monhegan Island is also getting $75,000 to develop engineering plans to raise and rebuild their town wharf, which is the sole access point for boats and ferries. The Maine DOT has closed the Taconic Bridge in Waterville to all traffic, and it will be closed through the month of June. According to the Maine DOT, the bridge closed yesterday for construction that requires access to the entire bridge. During this time, pedestrians will not be allowed to transit the bridge. Maine DOT says vehicle traffic will be detoured south to the Carter Memorial Bridge, and pedestrian traffic will be detoured north to the 2 Cent Bridge. The bridge will reopen to both eastbound and westbound vehicle traffic on June 29th. The DOT noted that single-lane closures and nightly full closures may be required throughout the summer and fall to complete construction of that new bridge. And folks, let's pause now. We'll take a first look at our forecast.
Thank you, Beth. Highs today in the low 80s here in Bangor. A few isolated showers out there kept some of us a bit cooler, but you can see the sea breeze kept us in the upper 70s for today. Still pretty warm near Rockland and Bar Harbor, but low to mid 80s down to the southwestern portion of the state. But yes, that front did keep you cooler up north for today, unfortunately. Low to mid 60s for you in Presque Isle and Clayton Lake this afternoon. But tonight, we're going to have a little bit more weather in the area. Clouds will increase, becoming mostly cloudy by the early morning hours, and that's when we have our best chance for a few scattered showers in the area, but this is the backside of the low. It's going to start dragging in some drier air at the surface for tomorrow afternoon, so any chances that showers are going to fizzle out. We'll still have a slight chance for showers in place. You can see it early in the morning, but by the afternoon, many of us look to stay dry, but yes, it will be cooler with highs barely getting into the 60s for tomorrow. So overnight tonight, that cloud cover and the low pressure still keeping temperatures warm. Many of us near the low 50s for tonight as winds lighten up from the north. Beth?
Chase, thank you. And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, we'll have more of your local news.
Graham Plattner says police officers are all bastards. He makes racist comments about black people. And if you disagree with Plattner, he calls you retarded and a fag. Read more here. Pine Tree Result Pack is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Are your gutters weighed down by debris causing them to sag and overflow? I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems. Clogged gutters lead to costly repairs for your home. So skip the cleaning and stop the clogs with Gutter Shutter. Gutter Shutter, the world's best gutter, is a high-performance gutter with a lifetime no-clog guarantee. Stop the clutter, get Gutter Shutter. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
Webb's RV Center has a 4-acre lot with over 75 previously owned campers all on sale, plus another 4 acres of new RVs and motorhomes. Webb's RV will take anything in trade. You can buy a camper anywhere, but be sure to buy your next camper at your local neighbor. A website can't service your RV, but Webb's RV will. And they have the biggest service department in the state of Maine to help you enjoy your RV or motorhome.
So come on down, neighbor. The coffee pot's on and the pencil is sharp.
When the morning light hits Maine, start your day with a good morning, Maine. Craig Colson, Janessa Bishop, by your side, bringing the stories that matter statewide. Local news and the forecast ahead. Wake up informed, ready to go on ABC 7 and Fox 22.
20 years of bigotry and hate from Graham Plattner. He calls police officers all bastards, and Plattner insults black people, saying they don't tip. Read more at bigotedplattner.com. Pine Tree Results Pack is responsible for the content of this episode.
As Maine's primary election approaches quickly, we want to give our viewers a deeper look into the candidates they'll potentially be voting for. Today, we hear from Democratic U.S. Senate candidate Graham Plattner.
I was born and raised in Sullivan, Maine. I grew up here. I joined the Marine Corps and served in the Marine Corps in the United States Army overseas, and came home after my combat service, really looking for a way to define my life. My combat service was difficult. I served in the infantry and in 4 deployments, saw a fair amount of combat, and it was coming back to Maine and moving back to my hometown that really allowed me to feel a sense of fulfillment and community again, and that really brought me back down to earth and allowed me, frankly, to build a really fulfilling life as an oyster farmer and diver in my hometown. And that's what I was doing right up until I decided to run for the United States Senate. We have a political system that for a long time has not represented the interests of the average American. People that work day in and day out and struggle to make ends meet. Even those who feel pretty successful this day and age, every single time you look at the gas bill, every single time you look at your utilities, every single time you look at your tax bill, you start wondering, can I actually make this work? I think the reason we are in this situation is that we've had politicians who don't come from the real world. People who have spent a lot of time in places of privilege or have just spent a lot of time in places of power and have forgotten that when they make decisions, it means material things to real people. And I very much believe that we need to build a politics in which regular people, working people, have the ability to be in the political system. Because we're not going to have a politics that represents us until we have a political system that's representative of us.
Meanwhile, Republican gubernatorial candidate Jonathan Bush announced leadership for his campaign by naming his county chairpeople. Via Zoom today, Bush introduced a chairperson for each of Maine's 16 counties. They included former state lawmakers and a lobsterman. Bush says these county chairpeople will be lining up folks for him to meet with and hear from to gain perspective, as well as something as simple as putting out lawn signs.
I've been involved in a lot of grassroots efforts over the years, And what's obvious this time and this year is that the grassroots effort is interested in turning our economy around. And Jonathan is the person to do that.
Jonathan is the right person because we need his sophisticated leadership in business to help us remove some of these bureaucratic strangles that we're having. Growth is stopping in Maine.
Well, the primary election is on June 9th. And coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, we'll have your national headlines. Stay tuned.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
When there's a big job to do, you send the person you know will deliver. Joe Baldacci, lowering grocery prices, protecting Medicare, defending a woman's right to choose. Those are big jobs. Joe Baldacci's always delivered for Maine. He passed laws making healthcare easier to get and helped restore mental health centers. Joe Baldacci goes to work for us in Maine. And in Congress, he will too. Project 218 is responsible for the content of this ad.
Here at Twin City Tire and Service, you will be working with industry professionals. We have ASE certified master technicians and certified tire and lube technicians. If we need your vehicle for a duration of time, we offer a complimentary shuttle service and can even offer a loaner vehicle. Being a client at Twin City Tire and Service means that we will treat you right. This includes a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on mechanical repairs. We also provide you with 1 year of complimentary roadside assistance. Come see us today at Twin City Tire and Service in Brewer.
Two Old Goats Antiquities and Artisans is located in Trenton. Our shop is open year-round, offering more than 3,000 square feet of antiques, furniture, collectibles, and just plain fun stuff. We are a group shop featuring 18 different vendors, each with their own style. We buy and sell vintage items, antiques, and curios. For more info, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Two Old Goats Antiquities and Artisans, 749 Bar Harbor Road in Trenton. We know once you've stopped in and seen all the great deals we have to offer, you'll be back.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
President Trump convened his 12th cabinet meeting today while talks with Iran are reaching a critical point. Fox's Rebecca Castor has more on where negotiations stand.
Huddled with his cabinet at the White House, President Trump reiterated his ultimatum to Iran.
They want very much to make a deal. So far, they haven't gotten there. We're not satisfied with it, but we will be. Either that or we'll have to just finish the job.
Earlier Wednesday, Iran's state-run media leaked details of a potential deal, which the White House called a complete fabrication. Iran claims the draft agreement includes the U.S. withdrawing forces and lifting the naval blockade in exchange for Iran fully reopening the Strait of Hormuz.
The United States is not going to remove anything from the region until the Iranians actually demonstrate their part, uphold their part of the negotiation, their deal.
I didn't do this to get a crummy agreement.
So far publicly, the regime has not shown any willingness to give up its nuclear program, a commitment President Trump says must be part of any deal. And this could prompt him to resume combat operations.
You can't let them have a nuclear weapon. They would use it instantly.
Diplomacy is always the first option. You have other options available to you if that doesn't work.
The president also thinks more Middle Eastern countries like Saudi Arabia and Qatar should join the Abraham Accords and normalize relations with Israel if a deal is reached.
I think those countries owe it to us. I'm not sure we should make the deal if they don't sign.
The president also clarified today he would not be comfortable with Russia or China taking Iran's enriched uranium, an idea that's been discussed during negotiations. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Meanwhile, the White House rolled out a new strategy to keep the African Ebola outbreak from reaching the United States, but it's still unclear if their counterparts in Africa are on board with the plan. Fox's Caroline Elliott has more.
The Trump administration is now considering plans to build a quarantine facility in Kenya for Americans who have been exposed to Ebola overseas.
The number one priority of our foreign policy is to protect the American people. We cannot and will not allow any cases of Ebola to enter the United States.
The epicenter of the outbreak is in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, where officials are warning it could become the deadliest on record.
This outbreak has been going for at least a month plus. It's going to take a while to actually wind it down.
The strain has a mortality rate of 30 to 50% and is rapidly outpacing containment efforts. Uganda says it will close its border with the Congo to stop the spread, as there are at least 900 suspected cases and more than 200 reported deaths.
Every death is reported to us, and we make sure that we sample all the people who have died.
The White House is focusing on prevention, but some doctors question the level of care patients will be able to get in Kenya. Americans flying back home from the Congo, Uganda, or South Sudan will be required to fly into New York, Atlanta, Washington, or Houston for additional screening.
Just to make sure that nobody comes into this country that has Ebola and creates a problem for us.
And the U.S. is reportedly deploying public health officers to Kenya, but it's unclear if the Kenyan government has signed off on the plan. In New York, Caroline Elliott, Fox News.
Fears of potential U.S. military action continued to grow in Cuba, causing some of its leaders to call for international help. Fox's Kevin Cork has more.
Cuba's in a lot of trouble because, unfortunately for them, it's run by a bunch of incompetent communists.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio called Cuba a failed state during President Trump's meeting with cabinet officials on Wednesday and warned the island country remains a national security threat to the U.S.
It's 90 miles from our shores, and having a failed state 90 miles from our shores is a threat to the national security of the United States.
Rubio's comments come amid rising tensions between the two countries. Cuba continues to struggle with its failing power grid during a months-long energy blockade by the U.S., and President Trump has repeatedly hinted toward potential military action on the country. The threat of an armed conflict has led Cuba's parliament to call for international support. Lawmakers say an official letter was sent to nearby countries on Wednesday, warning the potential conflict could have a larger impact on the region.
Support and public statements have been sought for the just and legitimate cause of the Cuban people.
Cuban lawmakers also say they are willing to engage in, quote, dialogue with the U.S. to help ease tensions.
On the basis of respect for our sovereignty, our political system, our self-determination, and the principles of international law.
While no talks have been planned, at least not yet, Secretary Rubio says he remains hopeful that a good outcome can be reached for the good of the Cuban people. In Washington, I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
There are increasing security concerns surrounding the upcoming World Cup. With nearly 2 weeks until the first match, the federal agency responsible for processing millions of incoming visitors is still operating without full funding. Meanwhile, some Democrats are sounding the alarm for a different reason. Fox's Bill Malugin has the latest.
USA! Tonight, final security preparations in the U.S. are underway for the FIFA World Cup. Preparations, the months-long DHS shutdown hampered significantly.
It put our mission in jeopardy. Now, can we still deliver? Yes. Were we able to be as proactive? No, absolutely not.
Customs and Border Protection, the agency tasked with processing the expected influx of millions of global travelers, remains unfunded, operating only on limited money from the One Big Beautiful Bill. And TSA, which had 8% of its workforce quit during the shutdown, needs 6 months to train new hires and deploy them to airports. But security logistics aren't the top concern for some Democrats. New Jersey Congresswoman Nellie Poe introduced the Save the World Cup Act, a bill that would ban ICE from conducting civil immigration enforcement within 1 mile of FIFA matches or festivities. In a statement, she says, quote, "When I recently asked the head of ICE directly for a simple assurance that they would stay away from the games, he refused. That is unacceptable, so my legislation draws a firm line on the pitch. no ice raids. It was announced Tuesday that the National Mall will be a fan viewing zone for the World Cup, with live match viewing and interactive exhibits. And during today's cabinet meeting, President Trump said the National Guard is in Washington to stay.
We have the National Guard, and we're going to keep them. Okay?
We're going to surge this summer, too.
Well, still to come on Fox 22 News at 10 as Democrats voice concerns about conditions at ICE detention facilities. The Trump administration proposes a drastic step. We'll be right back.
Thursday, it's Fox Movie Night.
Does he know that we dated? I'm falling in love again.
I'm gonna need so much therapy.
The television premiere of There She Goes, Thursday on Fox.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
They say Maine is one small town with really long driveways. When we faced our toughest challenge in years, I was honored you let me into your homes. You trusted me to keep us safe, and together, we stood up to Donald Trump's lies about public health. I'm Nirav Shah, and I'm running for governor to bring that same results-driven approach to deliver for all Mainers. As governor, I'll run toward our biggest challenges: fixing housing, funding healthcare, and fighting Donald Trump.
Nirav Shah, governor.
Carpets looking tired, stained, or just plain dirty? It's time to call the pros. At CNR Carpet Cleaning, we use deep steam technology to remove dirt, odors, pet hair, and allergens fast. Fresh, clean carpets, healthier home. That's the CNR promise. Visit our Facebook page for a free estimate or call us today, 631-7380. Step into clean with CNR Carpet Cleaning.
People ask me all the time, does Lowry & Associates really get all of those clients, all of those big settlements? Yes, we do. And you know what else is true? I really am standing on top of this big truck.
Quiz with balls. Release the ball. Welcome back to the Quiz with Balls, baby. Quiz with Balls. Quiz with Balls. It's cash or splash. Everybody got that?
The Quiz with Balls, all new Mondays on Fox and watch anytime on Hulu.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Democrats are once again bringing attention to what they allege are inhumane conditions at ICE detention facilities. And now the Trump administration is considering a drastic step to tone down the demonstrations. We go back to Fox's Caroline Elliott.
Everybody remain calm. The Department of Homeland Security sending a stern warning to sanctuary cities after the latest protests outside an ICE facility in New Jersey. DHS Secretary Markwayne Mullin renewed a threat to block international travel into cities that aren't cooperating with ICE.
They're barricading our employees from coming in and out of the facility. Then why are we processing international flights into the airport there?
Protests continued Tuesday in New Jersey at Delaney Hall after a reported hunger strike over rotting food.
A detainee handed me a carton of milk. And I looked at it and it was just congealed solid. I mean, it was absolutely disgusting.
Mullin says the hunger strike claims are exaggerated.
There was only a handful of individuals that was refusing to eat because they want their ethnic group or their ethnic right food. Well, they can go back to their country and get whatever food they want. The fact is, we're giving them the calories they want. This isn't Holiday Inn.
The threat to shut down some international travel has captured the attention of the travel industry, especially right before the World Cup.
We have people from around the world and around the country that need to be able to fly into all different kinds of places. We shouldn't shut down air travel in a state that doesn't agree with our politics.
And millions of foreign tourists are set to arrive next month as the games kick off. In New York, Caroline Elliott, Fox News.
Rescue crews turned to recovery efforts at the scene of a chemical implosion in Washington, where multiple people are confirmed dead. The implosion happened less than a week after a chemical tank leak in California, which also prompted concerns of an explosion. Fox's Nate Foy has more.
Authorities in Longview, Washington say the focus is on recovery efforts Wednesday, the day after a chemical tank imploded at a paper mill.
The priority is ensuring responder safety while treating every victim with the greatest dignity, care, and respect as possible. One individual transported from the scene on Tuesday succumbed from their injuries, bringing the total number of confirmed fatalities to 2 of those transported.
Authorities say they're working to stabilize the liquid in the tank, known as white liquor, before they can begin safe searches for the missing.
How that gets stabilized is what our primary goal is.
The tank was holding around 900,000 gallons of the liquid before the implosion.
Further observation this morning from plant officials identified that amount is at the most, but roughly 25,000 gallons.
At least 9 people, including a firefighter, were also injured after the tank collapsed, with injuries ranging from burns to those suffered from smoke inhalation. Authorities say despite the dangerous liquid still in the tank, the incident does not present a risk to the community.
The public is still asked to avoid the road network here.
Multiple safety complaints have been filed against the facility since March. The state's Labor and Industries Department says the complaints are not related to the implosion. Nate Foy, Fox News.
The head of one of the country's largest teachers' unions called for limits on technology in schools in a major policy speech Wednesday, including blocking most students from using computers in class until they reach the 3rd grade. Fox's chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel has more from Washington, D.C.
The kids are not all right, and a major reason is that they are drowning in tech.
One of America's biggest teachers' unions put itself front and center as the debate over technology in the classroom heats up. The American Federation of Teachers, representing nearly 2 million educators across the country, says administrators should be scaling back screen time in classrooms, pointing to growing evidence that shows the use of computers by younger kids is making it more difficult to get students to focus.
All this tech has been a huge experiment on our kids, and experiments can go wrong. We need to take stock so we can do what is right.
The AFT is now proposing new regulations, including a ban on classroom computers until the 3rd grade, phasing out artificial intelligence in elementary schools, and banning chatbots for all students younger than 16.
Without proper oversight and strong guardrails, there'll be dangers to our society and privacy.
But tech advocates argue students need to be exposed to computers and AI at a young age, and America is already behind in the race to make sure kids are joining tomorrow's workforce with the tools they'll need.
If your school isn't teaching this, you need to be proactively teaching yourself, because this is a skill set you're going to need in the workplace.
Just last week, the Surgeon General's office issued a warning about excessive screen time for children, including in schools. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
A financial services company dives into AI while a Chinese-owned automaker receives U.S. market approval. Fox Business Network's David Asman has a look at these stories and more in today's Fox Means Business.
Markets finished higher for your Wednesday across the board. All 3 major indices green, extending yesterday's records. Well, Robinhood is now letting customers deploy AI agents to trade stocks on their behalf. Users can set up a separate agentic trading account where their AI agent can trade stocks, with plans to expand the service into derivatives, crypto, and prediction markets. Separately, users can give agents access to a virtual Robinhood Gold credit card to make purchases. Robinhood says this feature has built-in guardrails to keep the agents from going rogue. Shares of Volvo car rallying after the Swedish-made but Chinese-owned automaker received U.S. approval to keep importing and selling its cars in the U.S., ending fears that its Chinese ownership could lock it out of the U.S. market. Volvo was in talks with U.S. regulators over a Biden-era rule blocking the import of China-linked vehicles, an issue for Volvo because China's Geely automobile conglomerate owns a majority stake in the company. Analysts are now calling the unconditional approval a better outcome than expected. And Target is piloting a new system to grade store workers on how well they engage with shoppers. The move builds on a push from last year where the retailer told staff to, quote, smile, make eye contact, and greet anyone within 10 feet. This move is also part of the CEO's broader plan to reverse the retailer's sales slump by fixing the in-store experience. That's business. I'm David Asman.
And just ahead, we have your full 5-day forecast. Keep it right here.
80s again out there for today, but we're about to be in a whole new world as we have a more wet and cooler pattern on the way, especially heading into this weekend. Temperatures can be in the 50s. When exactly will that rain arrive? We'll have those answers coming right up.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
Sprague's Nursery and Garden Center is your destination for all things green, and yellow, and pink, and red, and, well, you'll understand when you visit us. Plants aren't just another department here. They're our whole world. From gardening classes to our expansive greenhouses, we cultivate a community of budding and seasoned gardeners alike. Professional landscapers turn to us too. Shouldn't you? Sprague's Nursery and Garden Center, growing with you since 1947.
In Maine, your pavement takes a beating. That's why Sturgis Construction does it right, from the ground up, specializing in asphalt paving, seal coating, and site prep. We build surfaces designed to handle harsh winters, heavy use, and everything in between. Whether it's a residential driveway or commercial lot, we deliver a finish that lasts. Protection, performance, professional results. Sturgis Construction. Asphalt done right.
Thousands of kids like Caroline receive life-changing care at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center each year, the only full-service pediatric program north of Portland. You can help support them by joining the Summer Classic 4 Maine Kids Golf Tournament, happening July 31st at Bangor Municipal Golf Course. Benefiting the Children's Miracle Network at Eastern Maine Medical Center, every dollar raised supports pediatric care today, tomorrow, and for years to come. Ready to tee up for a great cause? Visit northernlight.org/4kids to learn more and register today.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
Thank you very much. Tonight's weather is brought to you by Rogan's Memorials. Give the gift of comfort through thoughtful planning with locations in Bangor, Bucksport, and Lincoln. All right, another warm day out there for today. Low 80s here in Bangor, low to mid 80s stretch all the way down to the southwestern portion of the state again. Freiburg and Sanford at 84 for today. A little bit of a sea breeze kept you cooler. Rockland and Bar Harbor in the upper 70s, low 70s for Machias for today. And you can see the effects of that cold front that came through, keeping you much cooler in the northern tier of the state, unfortunately. Low to mid 60s for you this afternoon. So as we see for tonight, many of us still sticking right around 50 degrees in the Bangor area. You can be a bit cooler right around those mid 40s near Clayton Lake and Caribou for tonight. As we get into tomorrow, though, temperatures don't really want to increase much. Many of us going to be just near 60 degrees here in Bangor just before noon. It'll actually cool off after that. We're going to have some more breezy winds. That low is going to be on the backside. Drier air will be moving in. Check out the highs for tomorrow up north. Low to mid 40s for some of you near Caribou and Clayton Lake. So a bit of a change in pace here, especially with the temperatures we've had the past 2 days. But it is going to be a cooler pattern here, a little bit more wet as well into your weekend. We can see highs only in the 50s But as we get to, the beginning of the work week, it does slowly get better. Low to mid 60s for Monday and the Tuesday. Back in the 70s by Wednesday, heading into next week. So winds out there, a little breezy this afternoon. They're going to lighten up from the north for tonight, but then they're going to continue to pick back up again for tomorrow, guessing near 20 to 25 miles per hour. A little bit more of that wind is going to be off to the west, especially down near Portland. The more north you are, the better off you're going to be. Probably just seeing some gusts near 10 to 15 miles per hour for you. But that wind will lighten up again throughout Friday nights. It's still going to be breezy early on for your Friday, but the winds look to decrease throughout the day from the west to east for your Friday afternoon. So here we are tonight. We're going to have some more increasing cloud cover throughout the night here in Bangor. And by the early morning hours, here 6 a.m., many of us will have chances for scattered showers out there. Not everyone's going to see a shower, but still about 40% of us have that good chance of seeing a few showers out there. Now, as we get into the afternoon, we're going to have more dry air moving in from the north at the surface. So that's really going to shut off the chance for showers going into the afternoon hours. Still going to be cloudy, breezy, and cooler, right? So definitely keep that in mind. We're going to have to bring the jackets back out. But as we get into your Friday, it will be a bit warmer. We're going to see some times where the skies can clear, letting in a little bit of sunshine. It looks like some isolated showers out there. Still a lot of dry air left over from what we're going to see moving in for tomorrow. So shouldn't see many chances for showers for Friday. We'll have better chances Saturday as that low pressure moves in closer, and it's going to bring in some moisture by your weekend. So that's when we'll have some better chances for rain showers in the area, but we also have that tonight, right? A few scattered showers out there, nothing crazy. Cloudy skies, lows near 50, 51 to be exact for tonight with that north wind right around 5 to 10 miles per hour, and we'll only increase about 10 degrees for tomorrow, low 60s, and that's only by right around noon. Temperatures will fall after that, a few showers early on, otherwise cloudy skies for tomorrow with a breeze from the north reaching up to 20 miles per hour. So here's a look at your extended forecast, much cooler than what we've seen the past 2 days. We can see highs in the mid to upper 50s for your Saturday, of course with a chance for rain showers, but temperatures look a little better Sunday and the Monday, low to mid 60s, but we do have another chance for some showers heading into Monday afternoon. Beth?
Chase, thank you so much. Folks, just ahead, we have sports. Stay with us.
Car accidents can be scary. It can feel like the whole world is crashing down around you. Hurt in a car accident, I'm on top of it. I'm your go-to guy.
Call 222-2222.
When Blazing Trails located in Lincoln want to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Blazing Trails is Lincoln's #1 trusted dispensary, providing outstanding product and customer service to Eastern and Central Maine.
Summer's here. You can celebrate anything, like buying your first car. Yes! Cute. Finishing a big project. Or even your dog's birthday. He's eating the cup. Is that okay? It's his daily fiber.
Now, from the longest-lasting brand, you could get a $199 a month lease on a fuel-sipping Corolla gas sedan with a $10,964 total contract cost.
Your summer starts here.
Toyota. Let's go places.
At the Challenger Learning Center of Maine, our mission to inspire Maine students has never been stronger. Our newly renovated facility is open and ready to launch. We have upgraded simulator rooms, refreshed learning spaces, and new hands-on STEM experiences. Check out our exciting upcoming events for students, educators, and families. There's always something happening at Challenger. Ready for liftoff? Explore what's new and what's next at the Challenger Learning Center of Maine. Visit astronaut.org for details.
ABC 7 and Fox 22's Jack Webb named Maine's Sportscaster of the Year by the National Sports Media Association.
Welcome back in, folks. The Ellsworth baseball team is absolutely rolling this year as the Eagles are looking to get back to the Class B state title game. The Eagles are 13-1 with that one loss coming to undefeated Washington Academy in Class C, but they've won 7 in a row since that point. And when you ask the Ellsworth seniors what their key to success is, it sounds like they've got a lot working for them.
No, I think we're just playing well as a team. I mean, right now we're hitting the ball well, pitching, we're doing good. It's not easy though. 13-1 on paper, but we've gotten really lucky. Down the stretch we made some great plays and just made some game-winning plays.
Honestly, I think our pitching and our defense definitely been our strong suit so far this year.
We're a family. We do everything together, whether we're at the field. If not, we're usually doing something together. It's awesome. I've never been a part of something so special.
With just 2 games remaining in the regular season and graduation around the corner, it's a very emotional period for the 3 Eagles seniors, and they're just hoping time slows down over these next few weeks.
I know, it's crazy. When I walked in freshman year, it never felt like this day would come, but it went by way faster than I could imagine.
My freshman year, I had a teammate who's a senior told me that, take it all in because you never know how fast it'll go. It sounds a little corny now I say it, but it really does go by pretty fast. You really don't know of how fast it is until it's there.
I don't even want to think about it. I mean, I love baseball, and I love the team. I can't imagine what it's going to be like when it's over. Hopefully it's good, but yeah.
Hope those 3 seniors soak it all in. We'll stay with high school baseball and head over to Central High School, where the Red Devils hosted the Stearns Minutemen. Stearns looking for their 10th win of the season, making the trip down. Top of the first is big for them. It starts with Emerson Michaud stealing second base, and not long later, this hit from Owen Wilson sets up the game's first run as Michaud runs it in to make it 1-0 early. They aren't done yet, though. Wild central pitch goes past the catcher, and Wilson makes his way from third to home to make it 2-0. Still in the top of the first, another wild pitch gives Stearns an even bigger lead. Lucas Pelkey and Owen Carr running in. Now it's 4-0 in the second inning, though. Red Devils are going to get on the board when Connor Worcester hits this one out of the park. Hits it out. He's thrown out, but not before Garrett Wheeler makes it home. Jumped the gun there. But the Minutemen kept on scoring. This time, Carr's deep hit gives Pelkey the time to round the bases, and Stearns goes on to win 16-2. To Mansfield Stadium now, where Bangor and Hamden battled it out under the lights. We pick it up in the first, where Matthew Turcotte, he had it going early. He punched out 2 in the first frame. Next half inning, Bangor looking to get something going offensively early, not just defensively. Jacob Harvey drives one to deep center, which allows Gavin Glanville-True to tag up and get to third. Shortly after, it's going to be Kyle Johnson at the plate for Bangor. He bloops one in the shallow right field, and just like that, the Rams have opened the scoring in the first. The Broncos would settle in defensively, though. Drew McKinney would get the punch out, and then in the fourth inning, he would do it again. This one would get exciting late, though. Broncos ended up scoring 5 runs in the top of the 7th. Bangor answered with 3 runs of their own in the bottom of the 7th, but Hamden Academy won it 6-5 in extra innings. Some exciting action there. Let's go national and talk some hockey, specifically in the NHL playoffs. The Vegas Golden Knights just punched their ticket to the Stanley Cup Final. The Golden Knights faced the star-studded and President Trophy-winning Colorado Avalanche in the Western Conference Finals, and they didn't just upset them, they swept the Avs, an outcome almost no one expected from a team that fought just to make it into the playoffs this season after a thrilling 3-goal comeback on Sunday night. All Vegas needed to make it to the finals was 1 win on Tuesday. The road to that goal started 5 minutes into the first when Mark Stone scored on a breakaway, and they all but locked up the win in the third period when Cole Smith tipped in a shot from the blue line. Head coach John Tortorella, who's also a former Black Bear, was hired 9 games before the playoffs, says this opportunity is a dream come true.
I'm thrilled for the opportunity, thrilled to be along the ride with them. Now we're playing for I consider the first 3 rounds playoffs. The last round, that's when you play for the Stanley Cup. We have an opportunity to play for the Stanley Cup now.
Folks, keep in mind the Stanley Cup Final will be on ABC. For now, that's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
A few weeks ago, I went down to the basement to see what was happening with the boilers and opened the door, and there was about 12 to 14 inches of water in our basement. I knew who to call right away, and that was Bouchard. They were here within a half hour. They work well with our insurance company. They're very, very efficient, and all I have to do is call them any time of day. They're going to take care of me. Our business is our life, and that's why I don't hesitate to recommend them to other people.
Ready to create your backyard oasis? Alexander's Professional Landscaping will work with you to create your perfect outdoor space. Work one-on-one with our landscape designer to create a unique garden to fit your family's personal aesthetics and lifestyle. Have our pros install your new lawn, garden, or patio. Schedule a consultation today by calling 573-4497. Alexander's Professional Landscaping, the way landscaping should be.
I'm Barry Higgins from Maple Lane Farm. We have our own beef herd here. We're on about 800 head, and it's raised right here on the farm. And we go direct to the consumer. No middleman, all natural, good old-fashioned Maine beef. Our quality is unbeatable. We have specials on Facebook every week. We guarantee our product 100%, whether it be beef, pork, or chicken. And we have a small selection of lamb also.
Maple Lane Farm, a candy store for a carnivore.
This Nissan lineup goes where you take it. Vehicles built with oomph, torque, traction, and yeah, full control. That's the power of a Nissan. Now's the time to drive. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality. Well-qualified buyers get 0% APR on select model trims or get up to $4,750 total savings on Frontier.
Two Old Goats Antiquities and Artisans is located in Trenton. Our shop is open year-round, offering more than 3,000 square feet of antiques, furniture, collectibles, and just plain fun stuff. We are a group shop featuring 18 different vendors, each with their own style. We buy and sell vintage items, antiques, and curios. For more info, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Two Old Goats Antiquities and Artisans, 749 Bar Harbor Road in Trenton. We know once you've stopped in and seen all the great deals we have to offer, you'll be back.
What animal suggested this image? I mean, we all know the answer, except for that one guy.
Who will be part of the 1% Club? Only Mondays on Fox.
A Yellowstone spinoff sets a record and a sneak peek at a comedy icon's tribute celebration. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has all of the latest in today's Hollywood Nation.
Murphy gets the spotlight, Louis Dreyfus takes center stage, and the Dutton family rides high in the Hollywood Nation.
This life here is gonna work, isn't it?
The Dutton family is bringing big numbers to Paramount+. Dutton Ranch Season 1 delivered the biggest original series debut in the streamer's history, with 12.9 million global viewers in its first week. It also ranked as the #1 streaming show, according to Nielsen, and scored cable's biggest premiere since 2023 on Paramount Network. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is headed for the bright lights of Broadway. She will star alongside Ed Harris and Allison Janney in a revival of Other Desert Cities. The play follows a politically connected family thrown into chaos after their daughter writes a tell-all book about a long-hidden tragedy. Previews begin September 29th ahead of an October 18th opening night at the Hudson Theater. Netflix is giving viewers a sneak peek at the AFI Life Achievement Award, a tribute to Eddie Murphy. The star-studded special honors Murphy's decades-long impact on comedy and film, with collaborators, friends, and fellow stars celebrating his legacy from stand-up comedy to blockbuster superstardom. The tribute premieres May 31st.
Buckle up.
Netflix also released a new trailer for Calabasas Confidential. The series follows a group of longtime friends, exes, and rivals returning home after college, where old drama, messy relationships, and buried secrets quickly collide in one of LA's most glamorous communities. The series premieres May 29th. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
The entertainers for America's 250th birthday celebration are finally revealed. In order to celebrate the country's historic birthday, entertainers like Martina McBride, Flo Rida, Vanilla Ice, and Bret Michaels are all set to perform at the National Mall for the Great American State Fair. The fair will also feature military performances and demonstrations, as well as a 110-foot Ferris wheel. The 16-day celebration will kick off on June 25th and run until July 10th. Admission is free, but event organizers say it's best to register in advance. AT&T awarded the Augusta Teen Center $10,000, which will finance a new technology program. As part of their nationwide plan to address the digital divide through access to the internet, AT&T's funding is supporting the Teen Center's Computers program, a hands-on digital literacy initiative where students build 3 computers. One goes to the teen center, another goes to an outside source, and the third is for the students to keep. External Affairs Director for AT&T in Maine, Ryan Clark, says it's important now more than ever for students in underserved areas to have internet access.
Making sure that these students are staying involved and staying engaged is so important. The fact that they're actually building the computers is really cool. It gives them some ownership and some understanding of how the technology works as well. So it's a really unique program that the Augusta Teen Center is holding for them.
AT&T says the company is committing $5 million to help 25 million people connect to high-speed internet by the year 2030. Well, there's a Bangor woman currently in the running for a national art competition. Our Doug Banks spoke with her today and has the story.
Pain, joy, trauma, and healing
Art is my greatest coping skill.
is brought to life through a paintbrush in the hand of Bonnie Woodhead.
I can't imagine a life without that.
Her art studio is her Bangor home.
I lovingly call my art bipolar artistry. Some things are very beautiful and some things are on the other end of that spectrum.
And her masterpieces fill a long-awaited sanctuary.
I like to do a lot with recycled art. Recycled art, I think, is kind of like mirroring my life. You take something that's broken or discarded that nobody wants and you put the pieces back together.
Woodhead says she's a survivor of decades-long personal trauma.
A survivor of domestic violence and child abuse, and I also live with mental illness. I did at one point have a complete mental breakdown, and I've spent a long time coming back from that. The road's been hard at times, but I just got back up every time I fell down.
Her passion to create was sparked when she bought a rock painting kit during the pandemic.
And found out that I absolutely loved it.
Then recently, while scrolling through Facebook, she came across a national art competition.
The People's Artist, sponsored by Johnny Depp.
And on a whim, she signed up.
And then got accepted into the competition, which for me in itself, you know, just being a hometown girl was huge.
People can vote for Woodhead once per day. She's currently in 8th place in her group. To learn how to vote for her, visit the story on our website, foxbangor.com.
I think it's really important for people to see what a survivor looks like. Is life like I thought it would be? Heck no. But it's so much better in so many ways.
In Bangor, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And we wish her the very best of luck for the rest of that competition. Alrighty, folks, that is going to do it for us. From everyone here at Fox 22 News, take care and have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.
For more local news coverage, switch over to our sister station, ABC 7, right now for ABC 7 News at 11.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more.
Decker Investigations.
I have a job for you.
Tuesday, ABC is serving an entire night of R.J. Decker.
Como se dice possible homicide?
With 3 back-to-back episodes, it's a triple decker of America's hottest PI.
That's straight gold, son.
Jump into one of the best new shows this year.
Repeat after me, okay? Everything is gonna be...
Try not to die tonight.
I will do my best.
A triple R.J. Decker Tuesday on ABC and stream all episodes on Hulu.
Jennifer Lopez and Josh Johnson on a new Jimmy Kimmel Live tonight on.
This is ABC 7 News at 11.